Hi, fourth graders. We are going to continue learning about polio, and we're going to look at a nonfiction text about the same topic. So our vocab is the same today. I'm going to go over them one more time because we have quite a lot of words. So a virus is a tiny creature that infects a living organism with a disease. So those are the things that often get us sick. Contagious means capable of being passed from one person to another. So if I'm sick and I can get someone else sick, I would be contagious. So that is an adjective. A vaccine is a noun, and it is a medicine given to prevent catching a disease. So it helps us stay healthy. Crippled is an adjective, and it means disabled or unable to walk normally. Homecoming is a noun, and it's a fall celebration at many American high schools and colleges. A float is a noun, and that is a decorated sculpture or scene in a parade. Buckled is a verb, and that means bent or collapsed. Limp is an adjective, wilted, not firm. Woozy is an adjective, and that means dizzy or weak. A spasm is a noun, and that is a violent muscle contraction. A spinal tap is a noun, and that is a medical test taking fluid from around the spinal cord, which is, again, your back. A diagnosis is a noun, and that is the specific disease or other cause of an illness, so why someone is sick. Contaminate is a verb, and that means to infect. Glisten is a verb, and that means to shine. And then an isolation ward is a noun, and that is a place, a section of a hospital where those infectious patients stay. So they're separated so they can't get other people sick. Okay, so we are going to do a little review. So the first couple questions are just reviewing what we've learned so far in this unit. So number one, what is a personal narrative? Number two, which pronouns are used in a story written in first person? So first person, it means that that person experienced the events. Number three, the narrator of a personal narrative is often blank. So who's speaking in a personal narrative? It says for the following questions, answer whether each sentence shows an emotional feeling or a physical feeling. So remember, emotions are how we're feeling inside, whereas physical means we feel it outside of our body. It's a specific body part that we typically feel it in. So number four, the cut on my finger stung. Is that emotional or physical? Number five, I felt lonely. Emotional or physical. 6, I was nervous. And 7, my back was sore. All right, the next part we are going to do our read aloud, and this is that nonfiction informational text about polio. So this is the introduction to polio. Polio is a serious and contagious illness caused by a virus. The polio virus spreads through contact with feces or less commonly being coughed on or sneezed on. Most people infected with the virus have no symptoms. For others, it results in flu-like symptoms such as fever, sore throat, nausea, headache, and tiredness. But when the polio virus affects the brain and spinal cord, it is very serious and can cause severe symptoms, including muscle weakness and paralysis, which may be temporary or permanent. While polio can infect anyone, it mostly affects children. Stories and drawings from as early as the year 1500 BCE suggest that people have gotten sick with polio for a long time. In 1789, British physician Michael Underwood published the first description in medical literature, and in 1840 a German doctor named it infantile paralysis. Polio epidemics increased in the late 1800s, and polio epidemics occurred regularly in the United States throughout the first half of the 20th century. Because polio is so contagious, these epidemics were very frightening and communities treated the threat very seriously. Swimming pools closed and children were not allowed in other public gathering places such as movie theaters. In the summer, when polio epidemics were most likely to occur, some parents kept their children indoors or made them wear gloves. One of the most famous polio patients was Franklin Delano Roosevelt. In 1921, when he was 39 years old and already an important and well-known politician, he developed polio. While he recovered and worked hard on rehabilitation, his legs were permanently paralyzed. Even so, he was elected president in 1932 and led the United States through the Great Depression and much of World War II. During his presidency, he created the National Foundation for Infantile Paralysis, later called the March of Dimes, which raised money to help polio patients and to research a vaccine or cure for polio. The March of Dimes funded research by two main scientists, Dr. Jonas Salk and Dr. Albert Sabin. We're both working on inventing vaccines, but using different approaches. Dr. Salk's vaccine was ready first in 1953. He was so sure of his vaccine that he started by testing it on himself and his family. Some of his lab workers also chose to have it tested on themselves. The results were promising, no one got sick, and everyone developed polio antibodies. In 1954, Dr. Salk and his researchers vaccinated almost 2 million healthy school children. A year later, the results were in, the vaccine worked. Over the next 2 years, polio rates in the United States fell over 80%. Soon after, in 1959, Dr. Albert Sabin's version of the vaccine was also proven safe and effective. Both Dr. Salk and Dr. Sabin chose to make the details of their research and how to manufacture their vaccines public. If they had chosen to keep it a secret, they might have made a lot of money selling their vaccines. But they decided it was important to share so that the vaccines could be produced and distributed as quickly and as inexpensively as possible. Today, thanks to vaccination, polio has been eliminated in the Western Hemisphere, which includes the United States, Mexico, Canada, Europe, and South and Central America. While polio is still present in a few countries, including Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Nigeria, programs dedicated to vaccination are working hard to wipe out polio worldwide. Okay, so number 8 asks, of the two texts you read yesterday, the diagnosis, and today we read Introduction to Polio, was either one a first-hand account? Number 9 was either a second-hand account? Number 10, which is not a reason to choose a first-person narrative over second-person narrative when learning about something? So what is not a reason to choose first person over second person? And then number 11, which is not a reason to choose second person over a first person narrative when learning about something. All right, that is all for today's lesson. Have a great day.